Hi.
Welcome. We've had lots of conversations about spiritual development and awakening, and I was wondering what your view is of true spiritual self-responsibility.
What I notice oftentimes is there's a lot of spiritual jargon, I would say, and people speaking kind of, which sounds to me like out of a book, and so, and then we get caught up in kind of engaging in that language, and it pulls us back to our mind more, and so the spiritual responsibility that I speak of is more. And just personal responsibility to me is one and the same. It's being taking 100% responsibility for our whole life, every ounce, every second of our life, as opposed to giving anyone else credit in any way whatsoever. And that could be like positive or negative, and like me making you responsible for how things go in my life today because you did X, Y, and Z for me, and then I can acknowledge that, and then so there's still like a clean connection. But once I turn over kind of that you're responsible for that happening in my life, yet still that I'm putting that out there outside of myself, and then I'm still like feeling the kind of emptiness internally.
Right, because you're giving the authority to somebody else.
Right. Yeah. So good, bad, or indifferent. So it's a critical, probably the most critical aspect of that, of just that taking ownership of my own life through everything, through thick and thin, so to speak.
Is there a secret to doing that? How do we know that we're being responsible to ourselves and being in tune with our deepest truth?
I would say, like oftentimes there will be a hesitation when we respond to something, and typically in that hesitation there will be, that's a red flag that's probably going up. Like intuitively from our heart, allowing ourselves to go, just to slow down. And sometimes it may seem like that we're literally like we're in cement or something like that. When if someone was to watch you, you'd be walking just normally, or you'd be talking normally, or whatever that is for you. And so I think is the discomfort in feeling kind of doing something different, or feeling like if I sit with this for a minute, then everyone's going to be watching me, or actually I might find out a truth that I don't want to find out. So that, I think that aspect, the part about being willing to find out whatever is there, like however radical it might show up, or however calm it might show up, the willingness is really like a key.
So I hear you saying that there is an important part of a pause in responding. In other words, tuning into your own self before you answer. Is that part of what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that in our world and how things have just sped up so much, and I think obviously that relates to how we communicate to one another and how fast that is. Before we even check in with ourselves, before we're responding, there's this automatic pilot running, and that's just it's a habitual pattern wherever that may come from. That's really secondary where it comes from, but just to recognize that's what's speaking. It's not me. It's not from my core, or one might call it the heart. And so then at that point we might even stop and say, let me slow down. Let me take a breath. Before I answer that, just because I want to be honest and I want to be truthful with you, and truthful with myself. So it works in interacting with people like outside of us, obviously, and then more importantly, like internally.
That requires practice and a very self-critical attitude or self-reflective attitude? How does one cultivate that? Because we're so often reflexively just referring to authorities and spouting received opinions and not taking the time to get into our deep truth and our heartfelt truth.
I think maybe a way of being a little bit more specific about that is like to see this actually not that difficult. It's more about the willingness to like do that and to look here first, to always the reflex, to start turning the reflex back to here, and then as opposed to going out. Above all things, it's a desire and a willingness to like to not give my authority or not give my life over to my surroundings, whether it be people or just my environment, or that could just go on and on.
Right.
Yeah, or just stories that I'm telling myself. If I do this, my world's going to fall apart. I have no idea. The truth is, I have no idea about that, and I don't think anyone does. But we terrify ourselves into not telling the truth, to not looking further. Yeah.
Yes. So, would you say that this is a key step to awakening, individual awakening? This sort of
absolutely. Yeah. It puts you on the road for sure. Yeah. And then once you're on the road, it's your road, and you start to recognize that, oh, this is my life. Yeah, I'm starting to play with my life. It's not our life or all of us. That's a part of it too. But first, like, I need to like recognize and be familiar with me all the way through in a tactile way, in like a spiritual way, and it all comes together as one. But initially, the truth is, it's not that initially, and or it's not connected that way initially anywhere, whether it's in our minds, in our spiritual bodies, or any of that. So it's the start at the beginning, building success, I guess.